Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you all are having a good day. It's getting a little chilly here, and if it's getting chilly in southern Mississippi, and I say chilly like in the morning is supposed to be, I believe, in the low 40s, high 30s for a brief period of time, and then it's going to get up into like the 60s, maybe 50s. But anyway, it's definitely a downward trend, and I know if it's cold here in southern Mississippi, it's really cold in most places around the country. So just want to say I hope everybody stays warm, and yeah. So before we get into today's video, I just want to say thank you to everybody for liking, subscribing, and commenting down below. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and the other supporters of my channel. As you can see, I have got the clapboard in, and that's pretty awesome. It's going to make editing a little bit more easier. And I got some studio lights coming in, some real studio lights to get rid of this LED light bar that is killing my eyes. But yeah, just want to say thank you again to everybody who supports the channel. I really do appreciate it. I wouldn't even be able to buy this stuff without your donations and support of the channel. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. So, and if you would like to help support the channel, there are links in the description down below. So today's video, if you were with the channel back in its early days when it was Review or React, I covered this already, but I haven't covered it on this channel, and all that's gone. So I wanted to redo this video, and it's about a samurai sword that is actually in Graceland and has been in Graceland since the 70s. So we are going to watch the first part of this where Angie and Tom are pulling out the samurai sword, talking about it, but they don't know the story behind it. But after they aired the video, a kind of special person that used to work at Graceland, wife saw it and told him about it. And then he was like, oh yeah, I know the story. So he got in contact with them, and then they brought him on, and he tells the story of the samurai sword. So if you're familiar with the samurai sword, there's one in Graceland, and it's not far from the front door, but it is hidden. It's in a drawer, and there's a pretty unique story behind it. So anyway, let's just take a listen and watch and see exactly what's up with this samurai sword.
Hi everybody, Tom Brown here with your latest installment of our video web series, The Gates of Graceland. Now, if you're like me, you love coming to Memphis and you love taking the tour of Graceland and going through the house and wandering where Elvis wandered. Well, you've seen only part of the story. Now, anybody that knows anything about Elvis Week, they know that when white gloves come out, it can only mean one thing, that Angie Marchese, Director of Archives, is somewhere close. And here we are downstairs at Graceland, and look who's here. Angie.
Hi,
with the
Tom.
white gloves. Hi there.
Welcome to Graceland.
Thank you very much. It's so wonderful to be standing in here, and we're here after hours because we have something very cool planned. Actually, Angie has it planned, and she hasn't shared it with me. All she told me was it's going to be incredible. So tell everybody what's going on?
Well, what we decided to do for this web series tonight is that we're going to show you things that you did not know existed, kind of hidden Graceland things, little gems of information and items that you might have never known were actually here in the house.
So you guys are coming up on, I think, your 20 millionth visitor.
Yes.
At Graceland.
They've all come through that same door.
Front door that Elvis came through. You know, when I was growing up, I never knew I would be able to be in Elvis's house. And so far, coming up, 20 million of us have been able to go through Elvis's house. We think we see everything. Every time I come through, I see something I didn't see before. But now, you're going to show us the hidden Graceland.
The hidden Graceland. So you got your gloves ready?
I got my gloves. Let me get them on. Left goes on left.
Right goes on right.
You'll find out that if you're with Angie and you want to see anything that's very cool that Elvis had, Elvis didn't have to have these gloves, but we do.
We do.
But that's fine. I'll put them on proudly. All right.
All right.
I'm ready.
You ready?
Let's
First
go.
stop?
Okay.
Living room.
Living room.
Okay.
Let's go. All right, we've moved into the living room. We're on the white carpet, but much like we have to wear white gloves, we don't have on our shoes.
No shoes.
No shoes on the white carpet.
No shoes on the white carpet.
Was that a rule when Elvis was here, or is that just...
You know, I don't think it was, but it's been a rule for years since we now preserve the white carpet the way that it was.
Well,
so.
I can tell you as a kid growing up, we had white carpet and we didn't even get to go in the room. So this is very cool. But we're in the living room. On the other side, we're looking back toward the front door that way.
And the unique thing about Graceland is that you can feel Elvis's presence here, and you can picture him relaxing. You know, can kicking his feet up on that coffee table. Gosh forbid, we don't do that now,
No,
but
no.
Elvis did. You know, the unique thing is that all of these things that you see in this cabinet, most of these things actually date back to '57. And they're on the original decorating receipts when Elvis first decorated the house. You don't really get a good view of them from the tour path area, but something that no one has ever seen. In fact, we discovered it when we first were cataloging the items in this room, is we were cataloging this display. So we start opening up the drawers to see what's in the drawers. And then we get to this second drawer here, and sitting here
Oh my goodness.
is a samurai sword.
Wow.
You've got
And
gloves.
it's still
and it's still
and
here.
you've kept it in. Now I know that I think the rule is if you open it, you have to draw blood. So I don't even know if I
Not
want
on the
to-
white carpet.
Not on the white carpet. Take them into the living room. Oh my gosh! So this, do we know the story of this, of where this came from?
We have no idea of its origin or its history. There's no maker's mark on it. There's no letter, and it's just sitting in this drawer, and it's been sitting here, as far as I know, since 1977.
All right, so that was the first part. And as you can see, they didn't know the story behind it. But let's take a look now at the actual story behind the samurai sword told from somebody who was actually there. Check this out.
Still here.
The samurai sword. From an earlier episode, you saw us talking about this, and we wondered about the samurai sword. And a few weeks after the episode went online, someone contacted me, and she said, "My husband, I think, can tell you the story of the samurai sword."
And it has something to do with Saturday Night Live, right?
You hope it does.
I hope it
You
does.
hope it does. Because how many samurai swords were around in the 70s? She's got this whole thing in her mind that she's put together. But we have a very special guest joining us here at Graceland. Back where he was head of security for Elvis all those years, for 10 years, from 67 to 77, Mr. Dick Grobe. First of all,
Good to see you, Darren.
with our white gloves on.
White gloves on. Good to see you again, because we met out in Las Vegas.
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
Now
so-
tell me about this sword.
Well, this looks, now, because I never marked it, but it looks like the same sword that Elvis got. Now, Elvis was upstairs. He was getting ready to go to bed. He was in his pajamas, and I got a call from Harold Lloyd, who was on the gate. I was here as a security guy for that night. And Harold said, "There's a guy down here in uniform that would like to see you." Well, I thought, okay, it's one of my fellow police officers that's come by, because we used policemen in every city we tried to tour in. So I went down to the gate, and here's a guy in a Japanese uniform.
Like
with-
a Karate King?
No,
Okay.
a military uniform.
Oh, wow.
And he's obviously an officer, because he's elderly, and he doesn't speak good English. So I brought him inside the gate, and he's carrying this sword, and I'm a little leery of anybody, with a sword like this. And he said, "I brought this to give to Mr. Presley." And I said, "Well, why?" He said, "Well, I was an officer in the Japanese military during World War II, and I want to apologize to you and to Mr. Presley for us fighting you guys.
Wow.
I'm really
Wow.
sorry about that." Well, that kind of touched me a little bit,
Yeah.
And he said, because Mr. Presley studied karate and learned from Mr. Ed Parker, who was a champion in Japan in the karate thing, he said, "I want to give this to Mr. Presley as a token of my appreciation."
Wow.
And I said, "Well, let me go up to the house and see if Elvis is available, because I know he's getting ready to go to bed." So I drove the golf cart back up here, around the back, and came in, went up and talked to Elvis, and he said, "No, I'm in my pajamas. I don't want to have to get dressed to go down there." And I said, "Well, okay." So I went back down, and I told the guy, I said, "Elvis appreciates that, but, he's ready for bed and doesn't have time to get dressed up and come down." I said, "But let me take you in the golf cart." And I took him around Graceland, the grounds here, showed him the various aspects of it, and took him back down to the gate. And he said, "Well, give this to Mr. Presley when he gets up." Well, I kind of opened it up a little bit, felt it, and looks like a real samurai sword to me.
Yeah.
Now, I studied weapons, but not the Japanese, so I really didn't know. So as I come back in, I'm sitting in the kitchen out there with Lottie, who was the cook at duty at that time, and Elvis comes down the back stairs. And he said, is that guy still here? I said, no, he left, but here's what he did. Gave you this. Elvis pulls it out.
Oh.
And he starts swinging it around like this. And it's like, because he's into the karate move with a sword, you know. And I said, Elvis, you're dangerous with that. And I pulled my gun out, and I said, if you don't put the damn thing down, I'm going to shoot. He walked in here, put it into a drawer, and I'm not sure whether it's the same drawer, and that's the last I ever saw of it.
Wow.
And guess what? I mean, that's where we found it. It's got to be the same drawer.
And this was in late 76 or early 77.
Yeah.
40 years ago, I can't remember the exact date. But when my wife told me about this, and you too on the thing, I said, I kind of remembered. I said, I'm not sure it's the same sword, but I doubt it changed.
I think it's the same one.
But when Elvis was swinging it around, and he's even getting close to me with it, that's a little scary to me, because I bleed.
We all bleed.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, Dick, that's not the story you wanted it to be, but that
kind of, sorta. Elvis swinging a sword around.
That's true, but Dick, that's an even more amazing story.
It really is. It's more amazing than I could ever imagine.
I think because it's one of the very few things where somebody from that time period actually came here, still in his uniform, which was apparently well taken care of because it fit him, and wanted to apologize for the big war that caused a lot of people to die around the world.
Right.
And he was, proud of Elvis going and serving his country and doing the military, and wanted to give him something that obviously sometimes meant something to him personally.
And Elvis, one of the first Americans to bring karate from
yeah.
Japan, and wanting to learn karate and using moves in movies that no one had done before.
And that was the whole thing. I mean, he was impressed with Elvis's ability. He said, I've heard Elvis's records, and they're very good, but he's into karate.
And karate's about honor and discipline and
very
doing the
much
right
so.
thing.
Yes.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very
Dick,
much
thank
so.
you so much for joining us. This is why I love what I do here with Angie, because there's so many items in this house that have stories, and to find out the story finally of this, it's been a great honor for you to join us here back in the mansion.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to be back here in the mansion, and good to see Angie again. You, I'm not so sure about, Tom, but it's
hey, I'm
good
holding a samurai sword.
You got it. You got it.
I'm
gonna
taking
give that
the
back.
samurai sword.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you for
This has
telling
been
me
a
the story.
special edition of
It's
Gates
not
of
Saturday
Graceland.
Night Live, but it's better.
It's better. It
You
is.
got
Exactly.
it. All right.
So what did y'all think about that? The actual story of the samurai sword that is in the drawer just off the living room, right? Like, that's pretty amazing. That Dick Grove could remember that from 40 years ago. This was recorded 6 or 7 years ago, is when they did this Gates of Graceland episode. And just think about what they said there at the very beginning, is that 6 or 7 years ago, they had the 20 millionth person come through the gate, right, to tour Graceland. Just imagine what that number is now. Like, that's got to be astronomical. But anyway, that's going to do it for today. Let me know your thoughts on this samurai sword and Dick's story. And I think it's a great story. It's amazing that obviously a Japanese soldier or Japanese officer in the Japanese army came to just say, hey, I would like to personally apologize on behalf of my country or whatever for what happened in World War II. And man, I wished Elvis would have not been already ready for bed. I wish he could have came down and talked to this guy, because that would have been great. There would have been pictures taken, all kind of stuff, you know. And it would be really, really cool if there was somebody out there who saw this and said, hey, didn't Grandpa tell a story about giving Elvis a samurai sword, or great-grandpa, or whatever? That would be so awesome to get it from that perspective as well. But anyway, that's all I got for you today. Tomorrow is Halloween, so if you're going out trick-or-treating tomorrow with the kiddos, or you're going to a party or whatever, just make sure you are safe and stay warm. And again, thank everybody for liking, subscribing, and commenting down below. Thank everybody for your support, so I can upgrade the channel with things like this. And anyway, just want to say thank you. And yeah, but that's all I got for you today. Y'all keep TCBing, and we'll see you next time. Take care now. Bye-bye. Gates of Graceland, hid Graceland, Samurai Sword, take 1. Anyway, just stay warm. Before I get into today's income to get it. So, if you were with me back in the ReveiwOrReact days, it's supposed to get down into the high 40s or into. What's really amazing is that Dick Robb could remember. We'll see you next time, y'all. Keep TCBing.